For many years, I studied the lives of the most successful men and women in the world. I spoke with industrial giants, inventors, leaders, and visionaries. I observed the habits of those who built enormous fortunes and the patterns of those who struggled endlessly without success. One question followed me everywhere. Why do some people become wealthy, while others remain poor, even when they seem to work just as hard? After decades of research, observation, and reflection, I discovered a truth that many people do not wish to hear. Poverty is rarely caused by a lack of opportunity. More often, it is caused by a lack of definite purpose and a failure to direct the mind toward a clear goal. Most people drift through life. They wake up in the morning without a clear vision of what they want to achieve. They go to work not because they are pursuing a mission, but because they must survive. Their efforts are scattered. Their thoughts are uncertain. Their energy is divided among countless distractions. And a divided mind can never produce extraordinary results. Wealth begins not in the bank, but in the mind. Before any fortune is created in the physical world, it is first created in imagination. Every successful enterprise, every great invention, every powerful movement started as a clear idea in someone's mind. But the average person rarely allows themselves to think in this way. Instead, they think about limitations. They think about bills, obligations, fears, and the opinions of others. Their mental energy is consumed by survival rather than creation. And this is the first reason many people remain poor. They never develop a burning desire for something greater. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. Without it, the mind becomes passive. It accepts circumstances instead of transforming them. It waits for opportunity instead of creating opportunity. When I studied the men who accumulated great wealth, I discovered that they possessed an intense desire. They were not merely hoping for success. They were committed to it. There is a vast difference between wishing and deciding. A wish is weak. It fades when difficulties appear. A decision, however, creates direction. Once a person decides upon a definite goal, their mind begins searching for ways to achieve it. Ideas appear. Opportunities become visible. Resources gather around a focused individual like iron filings around a magnet. But most people never reach this stage because they fear commitment. They hesitate. They say, maybe one day. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect conditions, the perfect certainty. But the truth is that perfect conditions rarely exist. Those who succeed begin before they feel ready. Another reason people remain poor is their habit of blaming external forces. They blame the economy. They blame their upbringing. They blame their education, their family, their government, their circumstances. While some of these factors can create obstacles, they do not determine destiny. History is filled with individuals who began in poverty and built extraordinary success through persistence, vision, and determination. What separates them from the majority is not luck, but mindset. The poor often see problems first. The wealthy see possibilities first. The poor focus on what they lack. The wealthy focus on what they can create. Your thoughts shape your actions. Your actions shape your habits. And your habits shape your destiny. If your mind constantly repeats the idea that wealth is impossible, your behavior will unconsciously confirm that belief. You will hesitate to take risks. You will ignore opportunities. You will avoid responsibility. But when the mind accepts the possibility of success, everything changes. Courage grows. Initiative appears. Creativity awakens. Another destructive habit that keeps many people poor is indecision. I discovered that successful individuals make decisions quickly and change them slowly. Unsuccessful individuals do the opposite. They hesitate endlessly and then abandon their plans at the first sign of difficulty. Indecision creates paralysis. When a person cannot decide what they truly want, their energy scatters. They begin many things but finish few. They pursue opportunities half-heartedly and abandon them before results appear. Wealth requires sustained effort directed toward a clear objective. It is not the result of random action. It is the result of organized thought. One of the most dangerous enemies of success is fear. Fear of poverty. Fear of criticism. Fear of failure. These fears silently control millions of lives. A man may possess talent, intelligence, and opportunity, yet accomplish little because fear prevents him from acting boldly. Fear whispers destructive thoughts. What if you fail? What will people think? You are not ready. And so the person waits. Years pass. Opportunities disappear. Dreams slowly fade into regret. I have seen this pattern countless times. But I have also seen the opposite. I have seen ordinary individuals achieve extraordinary success, simply because they refused to accept fear as an authority. They acted. They persisted. They continued even when others doubted them. This persistence is another key principle that separates wealth from poverty. Most people quit too early. They try something once or twice. When results do not appear immediately, they conclude that success is impossible. But success often lies just beyond the point where most people give up. The inventor may fail hundreds of times before discovering the correct method. The entrepreneur may struggle for years before the right opportunity emerges. Persistence transforms temporary defeat into permanent success. The person who refuses to quit eventually finds a way. In my study of successful individuals, I discovered that they treated failure differently from the average person. The average person sees failure as proof of inadequacy. The successful individual sees failure as information. Each mistake reveals a better method. Each obstacle reveals hidden weaknesses that can be improved. Thus, failure becomes a teacher rather than an enemy. If you are still poor today, the reason may not be a lack of ability. It may be that your mind has never been fully directed toward a definite objective. You may have worked hard, but without a clear destination. You may have hoped for success, but never committed to it completely. The good news is that the principles of success are available to anyone who is willing to apply them. They do not depend on luck. They do not depend on privilege. They depend on disciplined thought and persistent action. The moment you decide exactly what you want from life, your journey begins to change. Your mind becomes organized. Your energy becomes focused. Your actions become purposeful. And when purpose directs your life, the forces that once held you back begin to dissolve. In the next part, I will reveal another powerful reason many people remain poor. A hidden mental habit that quietly sabotages their success without them even realizing it. There is another reason why many people remain poor, and it is far more dangerous than a lack of money. It is the habit of accepting mediocrity. During my years of studying successful individuals, I noticed that the majority of people quietly accept a life far below their potential. They do not openly declare defeat, but their actions reveal it. They settle for routines that require little effort, little imagination, and little courage. Comfort becomes their prison. At first, this comfort seems harmless. A stable job, predictable income, familiar surroundings. Yet slowly, almost invisibly, this comfort begins to drain ambition. The mind that once dreamed of achievement begins to settle for survival. I have observed countless men who possess the intelligence and capability to achieve extraordinary things, yet they chose safety instead of growth. They avoided risk. They avoided responsibility. They avoided the discomfort required for progress. And over time, their lives reflected those choices. Wealth rarely comes to those who seek only comfort. Success demands something more powerful than comfort. It demands growth, discipline, and the willingness to endure uncertainty. Another destructive habit that keeps many people poor is the belief that money is created only through hard labor. Now, do not misunderstand me. Hard work is valuable. It builds character, discipline, and resilience. But hard work alone does not create wealth. If hard work alone created riches, the hardest working individuals in society would be the wealthiest. Yet this is rarely the case. True wealth is created through organized thought. The successful individual learns to direct the mind toward solutions, opportunities, and ideas. They understand that the mind is the most powerful tool for creating value. Many people spend their entire lives exchanging time for money. They work longer hours, hoping that effort alone will eventually produce prosperity. But time is limited. The wealthy individual learns something different. They learn how to multiply effort through ideas, systems, and cooperation with others. This principle is one of the great secrets of success. A single powerful idea can generate more wealth than decades of physical labor. But ideas appear only to the prepared mind. A mind consumed by worry, fear, and distraction rarely produces creative solutions. This is why mental discipline is essential. Your thoughts determine the direction of your life. If your mind constantly focuses on scarcity, problems, and limitations, you will unconsciously build a life that reflects those ideas. But when the mind begins focusing on possibility, opportunity, and achievement, the world begins to appear differently. Opportunities that once seemed invisible suddenly become clear. Another habit that traps people in poverty is the fear of criticism. This fear is more powerful than most individuals realize. From childhood, many people are taught to seek approval from others. They learn to avoid mistakes, avoid embarrassment, and avoid standing out. As a result, they become cautious. They silence their ambitions before even attempting them. They think of an idea for a business but never pursue it because others might laugh. They dream of a different career but remain where they are because their friends would question their decision. Slowly, the opinions of others begin to control their lives. The tragedy of this pattern is that the same people who fear criticism often receive it anyway. Those who succeed are criticized. Those who fail are criticized. Criticism is unavoidable. The difference is that successful individuals refuse to allow criticism to control their decisions. They understand something important. The average person often criticizes what they do not understand. When a person attempts something bold or unconventional, it threatens those who are comfortable with routine. Criticism becomes a defense mechanism for those who fear change. Therefore, if you allow the opinions of others to guide your life, you will rarely achieve anything extraordinary. Another silent destroyer of success is procrastination. Many people intend to improve their lives. They say, "One day I will start the business. One day I will pursue my dream. One day I will change." But one day is a dangerous phrase. It creates the illusion of progress while producing none. The truth is that success favors action. Even imperfect action creates momentum. It creates experience. It reveals opportunities that cannot be seen from the sidelines. The person who waits for perfect conditions will wait forever. Every successful individual I studied began with uncertainty. They began before they had all the answers. They learned by doing. Another difference between the wealthy and the poor is the way they react to temporary defeat. Most people interpret obstacles as signs that they should stop. But those who achieve success interpret obstacles differently. They ask a different question. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in thinking transforms problems into stepping stones. Each difficulty becomes a lesson that strengthens strategy, skill, and determination. In my studies, I discovered that many fortunes were built immediately after a moment of great disappointment. The individual who refused to surrender discovered a new idea, a new approach, or a new opportunity. But those who surrendered never reached that point. This is why persistence is so powerful. Persistence separates dreamers from achievers. Anyone can imagine success. Anyone can wish for wealth. But only the persistent individual continues working when enthusiasm fades and obstacles appear. Persistence requires belief. You must believe that your goal is possible even when results are not yet visible. Without belief, the mind weakens under pressure. With belief, the mind searches relentlessly for solutions. Another reason people remain poor is that they underestimate the influence of their environment. Your thoughts are shaped by the people around you. If you surround yourself with individuals who constantly complain, doubt, and criticize ambition, their thinking will eventually influence your own. But when you associate with individuals who pursue growth, opportunity, and achievement, your mind begins absorbing those attitudes. Environment shapes expectation, and expectation shapes results. If you expect little from life, You will unconsciously settle for little. But when you begin expecting greater possibilities, your behavior begins aligning with those expectations. You begin taking opportunities more seriously. You begin developing new skills. You begin pursuing goals that once seemed impossible. This transformation begins in the mind. If you are still poor today, the reason may not be a lack of intelligence or ability. It may be that your habits of thought have never been trained towards success. The good news is that habits can be changed. A new direction can begin the moment you choose it. In the next part, I will reveal one of the most powerful forces behind every fortune ever created. A force so strong that when it is properly directed, it can transform an ordinary person into an unstoppable achiever. There is a force that stands behind every great achievement in human history. It is invisible, yet powerful enough to transform an ordinary person into a creator of wealth and opportunity. That force is desire. In my many years of studying successful individuals, I discovered that every fortune begins with a burning desire, not a vague wish, not a passing thought, but a powerful and definite determination to obtain a specific goal. Most people never experience this kind of desire. They say they want success, but their actions reveal something different. They want comfort. They want security. They want approval. But they do not want the struggle that often accompanies great achievement. A weak desire produces weak results. If your desire for success is mild, your efforts will be mild. When obstacles appear, and they always do, you will retreat into safety and abandon the goal. But when desire becomes intense, something remarkable happens within the mind. Energy increases. Focus sharpens. Imagination awakens. The person with a burning desire does not simply wait for opportunity. They search for it relentlessly. They begin seeing possibilities where others see problems. This is the difference between those who drift through life and those who shape it. Drifters allow circumstances to determine their future. Leaders determine their future through purpose. Another reason many people remain poor is that they never define what wealth actually means to them. They say they want more money, but they do not know how much. They say they want success, but they cannot describe what success looks like. A vague goal produces vague results. The mind requires clarity. When you clearly define what you want, the subconscious mind begins working toward that goal continuously. It searches for ideas, connections, and opportunities that support your objective. But when the goal is unclear, the mind wanders. It moves from one idea to another without direction. And without direction, energy is wasted. I often ask individuals a simple question: what exactly do you want from life? Most people cannot answer immediately. They hesitate. They speak in generalities. They describe what they do not want rather than what they truly desire. This confusion is one of the primary reasons they remain where they are. The person who achieves wealth has already decided exactly what they intend to achieve. They have created a mental picture of their future. They have defined their purpose clearly enough that it becomes a guiding force behind every decision. Without this clarity, effort becomes scattered. Imagine a ship without a destination. The crew may work tirelessly. The engines may run continuously. Yet without a direction, the ship simply drifts across the ocean. The same principle applies to life. Hard work without purpose leads to exhaustion rather than success. Another habit that keeps many people poor is the tendency to underestimate themselves. From an early age, many individuals are told what they cannot do. They hear statements such as, "You are not talented enough. That goal is unrealistic. People like you do not succeed." Over time, these statements become beliefs. And belief is powerful. If a person believes they are incapable of achieving success, their behavior will unconsciously support that belief. They will hesitate to pursue opportunities. They will avoid risks that could lead to growth. They will remain in familiar environments that reinforce their limitations. But the mind is far more powerful than most people realize. When a person replaces limiting beliefs with empowering ones, their entire outlook changes. Confidence grows. Courage increases. And with courage comes action. Another reason people remain poor is that they never develop the habit of disciplined thinking. The average mind is easily distracted. It moves from one concern to another, without control. One moment it focuses on ambition. The next moment it becomes overwhelmed by doubt or fear. Successful individuals learn to direct their thoughts deliberately. They guard their minds carefully. They understand that negative thoughts can destroy motivation and weaken determination. Therefore, they replace destructive thinking with constructive thinking. This does not mean ignoring problems. It means focusing on solutions rather than dwelling on obstacles. The disciplined mind becomes a powerful instrument. It transforms challenges into opportunities and confusion into strategy. Another critical factor in the creation of wealth is imagination. Every advancement in business, science, and technology began as an idea. Imagination allows the mind to see possibilities beyond present circumstances. It enables a person to design new solutions, create valuable services, and identify opportunities others overlook. But imagination is often suppressed. Many people believe creativity belongs only to artists or inventors. In reality, imagination is a practical tool that can be used in every field. The entrepreneur imagines a new product. The leader imagines a better system. The strategist imagines a more effective method. Without imagination, progress becomes impossible. This is why those who achieve great success cultivate their ability to think creatively. They ask questions others do not ask. They explore ideas others ignore. They remain curious and open to new possibilities. If you are still poor today, it may not be because opportunities are absent. It may be because your desire has never become strong enough to transform your thinking. Weak desire produces hesitation. Strong desire produces determination. When desire becomes intense enough, it begins shaping your daily actions. You begin reading differently. You begin thinking differently. You begin associating with different people. Your entire environment begins to change because your mind is no longer satisfied with mediocrity. This transformation marks the beginning of progress. Wealth does not appear overnight, but the moment your thinking changes, your direction changes. And when direction changes, destiny eventually follows. In the next part, I will reveal another powerful principle that separates those who remain poor from those who achieve lasting prosperity: the ability to make decisive choices and commit to them completely. There is a habit that quietly destroys more dreams than lack of intelligence, lack of opportunity, or even lack of money. That habit is indecision. During my research into the lives of successful individuals, I discovered a fascinating pattern. The most successful men and women possess the ability to make decisions quickly and stand by them firmly. The majority of unsuccessful individuals did the opposite. They hesitated. They waited. They postponed decisions again and again, hoping that circumstances would somehow become clearer or easier. But life rarely rewards hesitation. Opportunity does not stand still while you analyze every possibility. It moves quickly. And those who fail to act often watch it disappear into the hands of someone more decisive. This is one of the hidden reasons many people remain poor. They never fully commit to a direction. They experiment with ideas but abandon them too quickly. They begin projects with enthusiasm, but the moment uncertainty appears, doubt takes control. Instead of moving forward with determination, they retreat into safety. Safety may feel comfortable in the moment, but it slowly erodes ambition. The mind becomes accustomed to avoiding risk, avoiding responsibility, and avoiding the possibility of failure. Over time, this habit becomes deeply rooted. A person who cannot decide what they want cannot organize their life around a clear purpose. Without a clear purpose, energy is scattered, and scattered energy produces weak results. I have observed that successful individuals approach decisions differently. They understand that no decision can ever be made with complete certainty. Every major opportunity carries some level of risk, but they also understand something else. Indecision is far more dangerous than making the wrong decision. A wrong decision creates experience. It teaches lessons. It reveals new information that can be used to improve future actions. Indecision, however, produces nothing. It creates stagnation. Years pass while the person waits for clarity that never arrives. Another reason people struggle financially is that they allow others to influence their decisions too heavily. Friends, relatives, and acquaintances often offer opinions about what you should or should not do. Many of these opinions are based on fear rather than experience. When a person announces an ambitious plan, others may respond with skepticism. That will never work. Be realistic. You should play it safe. These statements often come from individuals who have never attempted anything bold themselves, yet their voices can be powerful. If you allow the opinions of others to dominate your thinking, you will gradually begin doubting your own judgment. Your dreams will begin shrinking to match the expectations of those around you. This is why successful individuals guard their plans carefully. They do not reveal every idea to everyone they meet. Instead, they seek advice only from individuals who possess knowledge, experience, and constructive thinking. Your environment influences your decisions more than you might realize. Surround yourself with people who encourage growth, and your ambition will strengthen. Surround yourself with people who fear change, and your ambition will weaken. Another destructive habit that keeps many people poor is the tendency to quit. When progress becomes slow, success rarely appears immediately. Most worthwhile goals require time, patience, and sustained effort. But many individuals expect instant results. When they begin a new venture or pursue a new opportunity, they imagine rapid success. When reality proves more challenging, discouragement appears quickly. They interpret temporary difficulty as permanent failure. Yet every successful person I studied encountered moments of great uncertainty. Businesses struggled before they grew. Ideas were rejected before they succeeded. Plans failed before they were perfected. The difference between those who succeeded and those who did not was simple. The successful individuals refused to stop. Persistence transforms obstacles into stepping stones. Each attempt improves knowledge. Each setback reveals weaknesses that can be corrected. Gradually, the path becomes clearer. The individual who continues learning and adjusting eventually discovers the correct approach. But the person who quits never reaches that point. Another powerful factor that separates wealth from poverty is the ability to assume responsibility. Many people prefer to blame circumstances when results are disappointing. They blame the economy, their employer, their upbringing, or their lack of connections. While these factors can create difficulties, they do not determine your ultimate outcome. Responsibility is empowering. The moment you accept full responsibility for your results, you gain control over your future. You begin asking constructive questions. What can I improve? What skill must I develop? What strategy should I change? These questions lead to solutions. Blame, on the other hand, leads nowhere. It creates the illusion that change is impossible. Those who achieve success rarely waste energy blaming external forces. Instead, they focus their attention on improvement. They study their mistakes. They refine their strategies. They strengthen their abilities. Another important principle is the development of self-discipline. Wealth rarely appears in the life of someone who cannot control their impulses. Self-discipline allows you to continue working when motivation fades. It allows you to save money when temptation encourages spending. It allows you to maintain focus when distractions appear. Without discipline, desire remains only a dream. Discipline converts intention into action. It transforms ambition into consistent effort, and consistent effort eventually produces results. If you are still poor today, it may not be because you lack opportunity. It may be because indecision, fear of criticism, and lack of discipline have prevented you from fully committing to your potential. The moment you decide to take control of your direction, everything begins to change. Clarity replaces confusion, purpose replaces hesitation, and action replaces waiting. In the next part, I will reveal another powerful principle that separates those who struggle financially from those who achieve lasting wealth, the power of persistence and the mindset required to overcome defeat. There is a quality that separates those who achieve wealth from those who merely dream about it. That quality is persistence. In my years of studying successful individuals, I discovered that persistence is not simply working hard for a short period of time. It is the ability to continue moving forward when circumstances become difficult, uncertain, and even discouraging. Many people begin their journey towards success with enthusiasm. They read books, make plans, and feel inspired by the possibility of a better life. But enthusiasm alone is not enough. Sooner or later, reality presents obstacles. Unexpected problems appear. Progress becomes slower than expected. Doubt begins to whisper in the mind. This is the moment where most people stop. They interpret difficulty as a signal that their goal may be impossible. Instead of adjusting their strategy and continuing forward, they retreat to the safety of familiar routines. But the truth is this: every worthwhile goal attracts resistance. Challenges are not signs that you should stop. They are signs that you are moving beyond the ordinary. The difference between successful individuals and those who remain poor is often very simple. Successful individuals refuse to quit. They may change their plans. They may modify their strategies, but they never abandon the goal itself. Persistence transforms temporary defeat into eventual victory. Consider the inventor who fails hundreds of times before discovering the correct solution. Each failed attempt appears useless to an outside observer. Yet every failure provides information. It reveals what does not work. It eliminates incorrect methods. It brings the inventor closer to the correct approach. Without persistence, that discovery would never occur. The same principle applies to wealth. Many individuals approach success with impatience. They want results immediately. They want proof that their efforts are working. But the world does not operate according to impatience. Success often requires long periods of preparation before results become visible. During these periods, persistence becomes essential. Another reason many people remain poor is their inability to maintain faith during difficult moments. Faith is not blind optimism. Faith is the conviction that your efforts will eventually produce results, even when those results are not yet visible. Without faith, the mind becomes vulnerable to doubt, and doubt is destructive. Doubt weakens determination. It causes hesitation. It encourages the person to abandon their plans prematurely. But when faith is present, something remarkable happens. The mind becomes resilient. Setbacks no longer appear as permanent failures. They appear as temporary obstacles that can be overcome. Faith strengthens persistence. It provides the emotional energy required to continue working when others would surrender. Another factor that weakens persistence is the influence of negative thinking. Many people allow negative ideas to dominate their minds without realizing the damage they cause. They repeatedly tell themselves, "This will never work. I am not capable. Success is only for lucky people." These thoughts become mental barriers. They discourage action before action even begins. Successful individuals develop the habit of controlling their mental environment. They choose what they allow into their minds. They read books that strengthen their thinking. They associate with individuals who pursue growth and achievement. They avoid influences that promote fear, cynicism, and defeat. This discipline protects their persistence. Another powerful tool for maintaining persistence is the development of a clear vision. When a person has a vivid picture of the future they wish to create, their motivation becomes stronger. They no longer work only for today's results. They work for the life they intend to build. This vision acts as a guiding force during difficult moments. When obstacles appear, the person remembers why they began. They remember the goal that lies ahead. This memory renews their determination. Another reason people fail to persist is that they attempt to achieve success alone. While determination is important, cooperation with others can accelerate progress dramatically. Successful individuals often surround themselves with capable and intelligent people who share their vision. This cooperation creates strength. Different perspectives generate better ideas. Shared effort multiplies productivity. Encouragement from others strengthens determination. Isolation weakens persistence. When a person struggles alone, discouragement becomes more powerful. But when individuals support one another, persistence becomes easier to maintain. In my studies, I discovered that many great fortunes were built through partnerships and collaborative thinking. One mind can produce powerful ideas, but multiple minds working together can produce extraordinary results. If you are still poor today, it may not be because success is beyond your reach. It may be because persistence has not yet become a permanent habit in your life. Many individuals stop just a few steps before success appears. They retreat at the moment when persistence would have produced the breakthrough they were seeking. The moment you decide that quitting is no longer an option, your mindset begins to change. Your determination strengthens. Your creativity increases. Your focus becomes sharper. Persistence transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. It is the force that keeps ambition alive when circumstances attempt to extinguish it. In the final part, I will reveal the ultimate principle that ties all of these ideas together. The mindset that determines whether a person remains trapped in poverty or rises to create lasting wealth. After many years of studying success and failure, I reached a conclusion that may surprise many people. The greatest difference between those who remain poor and those who achieve wealth is not intelligence. It is not education. It is not even opportunity. The greatest difference is mindset. Your financial condition is often a reflection of your dominant thoughts. This idea may sound uncomfortable, but it contains a powerful truth. The mind is the starting point of every achievement. Before wealth appears in the material world, it must first appear in the form of an idea. Every great enterprise began as a thought. Every invention began as an imagination. Every fortune began as a decision. Yet the majority of people underestimate the power of their own thinking. They allow their minds to drift from woe to fear, from doubt to distraction. Their thoughts are not organized around a clear purpose. As a result, their lives reflect that confusion. The mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant in it will grow. If you repeatedly plant thoughts of fear, limitation, and scarcity, those ideas will shape your behavior. They will influence your decisions and determine your actions. But if you deliberately plant thoughts of opportunity, determination, and abundance, the results will be different. The mind will begin searching for ways to make those ideas real. This is why successful individuals guard their thinking carefully. They understand that negative influences can quietly destroy ambition. Therefore, they choose their environment, their associations, and their information with great care. They surround themselves with individuals who think constructively. They read ideas that expand their imagination. They develop habits that strengthen their discipline. Another powerful factor that shapes financial success is belief. Belief is the bridge between desire and achievement. When you truly believe that a goal is possible, your mind begins organizing itself toward that objective. Your creativity increases. Your determination strengthens. Your ability to endure obstacles grows stronger. But when belief is absent, effort becomes weak. Doubt creates hesitation. Hesitation creates inaction. And inaction produces no results. Many people remain poor not because success is impossible, but because they have never fully believed in their ability to achieve it. They have accepted limitations imposed by others. They have internalized the fears of society. And as a result, they unconsciously build lives that reflect those limitations. Yet history proves again and again that individuals from the most modest beginnings can achieve extraordinary success. The difference lies in the willingness to challenge limiting beliefs. Another important principle is the development of self-confidence. Confidence does not appear magically. It grows through action. Each small success strengthens belief. Each challenge overcome builds courage. As confidence increases, the individual becomes willing to pursue larger opportunities. Without confidence, even great opportunities may be ignored. The person hesitates, doubts themselves, and ultimately allows the opportunity to pass. But the confident individual acts. They may not possess all the answers, but they trust their ability to learn, adapt, and grow. This attitude transforms uncertainty into possibility. Another factor that determines financial success is the ability to maintain focus. Modern life is filled with distractions. Endless information competes for attention. Entertainment consumes time. Social pressures encourage conformity. As a result, many people lose sight of their long-term goals. They move from one idea to another without completing anything. Wealth rarely comes to those who lack focus. The individual who achieves great success concentrates their energy on a specific objective. They develop expertise. They refine their strategy. They continue improving their abilities until their efforts produce meaningful results. Focus transforms effort into progress. Without focus, effort becomes scattered, and scattered effort rarely produces significant achievement. Another powerful idea is the understanding that wealth is often the result of value creation. Money flows toward those who provide solutions, services, and innovations that improve the lives of others. The more value you create, the more opportunity you generate. Successful individuals constantly ask themselves an important question: how can I become more useful? They develop skills that solve problems. They design systems that improve efficiency. They create ideas that benefit others. As their usefulness increases, so does their influence and income. Those who remain poor often focus only on immediate compensation rather than long-term value. But the wealthiest individuals think differently. They focus on contribution first, and contribution eventually produces reward. If you are still poor today, the situation is not permanent. It is simply the result of patterns that can be changed. You can change your thoughts. You can change your habits. You can change your direction. The moment you decide to take control of your mind, your life begins to transform. You begin defining your purpose. You begin strengthening your discipline. You begin pursuing opportunities with persistence and belief. This transformation does not happen overnight, but every great achievement begins with a single decision. The decision to refuse mediocrity. The decision to believe in your potential. The decision to pursue a definite purpose with determination. When that decision becomes permanent, the path towards success begins to reveal itself. And once a person commits fully to growth, persistence, and purpose, poverty no longer has the power to control their future.